What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Ohio Sports Talk. I am your host, Doug. That's my guy, Jordan. Jordan, how the hell you doing, man?
Hey, doing a lot better this week. Weather kind of gave us a break.
Yeah,
We'll get into the CAVS. We'll get into a couple woes, but personally, it was a good week. It's a good week. This week's Mother's Week, so we'll move on. We'll touch on that on Thursday, but a lot to look
yeah,
forward to.
yeah. There really is a lot to look forward to. I mean, you mentioned a couple things. Obviously, we're going to have to shout out the moms on Thursday. Talk a little bit about that. But solid, better week this week than we had last week. Cavs, go ahead and pull it out in the pull it out in round one. Beat the Magic last night in 7. We're obviously going to get into that a lot more. And then we're going to talk the Reds. The Reds have been extremely down recently. So we'll definitely talk about that. And then, we're going to talk a little Ohio sports, high school sports with the divisions rearranging and all that kind of stuff. So that gives another element of the show tonight. Jordan, what do you want to start with? Talk to us about the Ohio divisions. What division are we going to talk about today?
We're going to dump into you and I are from the Miami Valley area, known for what was the MML, what was the GWalk, or what's left of it. So we're going to dump into the Miami Valley area. A lot of Division II, Region 8 specifically, and it's more on the basketball and football side. Kind of got reshuffled big time. So I'll kind of shout out to the teams that got to move up from Division 3 and 4 up to Division 2 because of enrollment. West Carrollton, welcome to Division 2. They finally moved back up in the world. Butler, welcome to Division 2. Monroe, welcome back to Division 2. Mount St. Healthy, welcome to Division 2 from Division 1. They fell down. So those are the newest additions to Division 2 Regional 8. They joined Miamisburg, Butler, Anderson is what's kind of where I lived here in the Claremont area.
Yeah.
Edgewood, Fairborn, which you and I are very familiar with. Kings falls in this division now. LaSalle, Monroe, Mount Healthy, which used to be a Division 2 school back when you and I played. Northwest, Piqua, Sydney, and Stebbins are part of the new alignment for the Division 2 Region 8. It's going to be like that for their baseball, football, basketball, and some other sports are being debated this spring and this summer, and we'll touch on it all summer long and kind of keep our viewers in tune on all the reshuffling that's going on because it's pretty massive for the local area. The Ohio High School Athletic Association, this is the most reshuffling they've done in the last almost 20 years. So it's been a while. Enrollment's been down for some schools, up for some others, and they added 2 divisions in basketball. So they're going to a 5-division scale. So a lot of teams are going to be bumping up and down, and we'll touch more on different divisions each episode as we go. But tonight there's a little shout out to Division 2 Region 8. For a lot of those schools used to be Division 1 back when you and I were in school.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting to see the massive reshuffle.
Yeah, that is interesting. And I think on Thursday we're going to do another division. I think we need next week to have like a graphic to show what we're talking about. But no, that's good, Jordan. I'm glad you touched on that. I'm glad you're doing some research on that. That's really helpful. Jordan, today the Dayton Flyers, one of the guys they were recruiting in the portal, signed to a different school. Kind of confused. Colin Smith was a target for Dayton for a couple weeks here. I thought we were pretty much a lock to get him based on everything I had been hearing. But ends up going out west to be a gaucho, which, good for him, and he's probably going to get a good spot, get good playing time. I just assumed that, that he was kind of a lock for Dayton, but that's recruiting in this world. You got the money aspect, you got playing time, you got all these things to worry about. What were some of your thoughts on the Dayton Flyers?
I was kind of more on the shock side, not to name names, but other resources and stuff that I had been reading, and even some local high school coaching levels that
Yeah.
I was talking to, really thought that they had Smith in the bag. So the fact that it kind of came out that it didn't work out that way for Dayton, to me, was shocking. Now, I didn't get the details on the exact like NIL numbers and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
get at least a ballpark. But everything that I read, Dayton was actually the bigger NIL deal on the offer. But
Hmm.
I think it came down to play, and this is just speculation from conversations that I've had in and out. It came down to playing time, and I guess maybe Anthony Grant. I'm not putting words in his mouth by any stretch here, but maybe Anthony Grant didn't promise the playing time that other teams were kind of pulling at his skirt at. So I think that's kind of the way it panned out, because Dayton on paper was the bigger money deal,
Yeah.
but I guess, like you said, you can't make money on your own likeness if you're not on the court. And with the way everything in college is kind of panned out, it's more like the NBA now than it ever has been, and it's playing time. Am I going here to play, or am I going here to just kind of be here and develop? So
Yeah.
maybe he
No,
just
I'm
didn't
with
see
you.
eye to eye with
So
Anthony Grant.
I mentioned this. I started a little Dayton Flyers YouTube channel, Flying W Doug, all one word, just to talk, get some of my thoughts out there, instead of tweeting them out like that. So trying something new. I commented on this before. To me, I thought this guy had some potential and some upside, so I was looking for that, and thought he was a decent rebounder, good shooter for his size. He's going to go out there and probably play pretty well. I just thought, him and Santos could play together. So as of now, Jordan, we've got Posh Alexander probably going to be the starting point guard. Enoch Cheeks is going to be the shooting guard. We've got kind of a hole at the wing position, unless we can sign a bigger forward to move Santos to the 3. Santos will probably play the 4 in Anthony Grant's system, and then Zedkey will play the 5. I know a lot of people still suspect Deron Holmes coming back. I don't know about that. To me, that seems a little far-fetched, because here's the problem, Jordan. And this has become more and more apparent. The older you get in the draft process, the less of your draft stock can continue to rise. There's a cap on age, unfortunately, for some of these guys, and we've seen that happen. Sometimes those 4-year guys in college kind of get looked down upon because they weren't able to go pro as soon. I know people have gotten through that. There's examples of players who have gone 4 years and still done well in the pros, but I do think you gotta strike when you're the highest level of prospect you are, and I think that's this season. What are your thoughts on Deron Holmes? I know people still think he's potentially coming back because Dayton's offering a shit ton of money, but what are your thoughts there?
I'm going to kind of echo what you were saying, Doug. Especially as much as you and I want to see him come back, and as a fan base, why the hell not? When you look at it on paper, but you look at it as a business, like you said, hey, there's no guarantee that if he comes back next year that, and I don't wish anything on any player. This is any player, not just in Deron Holmes' case. Injury can happen. You can tear a knee. You can twist up an ankle the wrong way. A dunk can go the wrong way. A young freshman playing, last minute closing seconds of a quarter can hard foul you the wrong way, and all of a sudden your draft stock goes plummet.
Yeah, that's true.
And I know the NIL kind of puts a Band-Aid on it for some players, but I mean, Deron Holmes is a premier player. He's
Exactly.
going to see minutes in the NBA. The thought process of the NIL kind of healing some mid-range players that they're going to be late second round or even free agent pickups. That scenario would work for. But Deron Holmes has got to strike while the iron's hot. So from an analyst standpoint and a non-biased standpoint, he's got to take the money where it's at. And it pains me to say it. I don't want to see him lost. I think there are certain aspects of his game that could be further developed at Dayton if he did stay another year, because it wasn't perfect. But but his stock and everything else is sky high right now. And that was kind of what we thought on some other players that went from UD to pro after 2 to 3 years. So I don't blame the guy.
No, I'm happy for him. I want to see him play in the pros. I think that's the goal, and that's what you want for your guys, is them to make it to the next level. Of course, he could get stronger. He could. I just don't know if another year of college is going to do that much to change where he's at. I mean, he was just a second team All-American. He was the A-10 player of the year, the A-10 defensive player of the year. You can't, it's really going to be hard to top that, level of production in college, Jordan. So to me, this is the peak of his prospects in the NBA. I don't think another year is going to really change that much. A couple draft spots, unless it's top 10, it's really going to be hard to really change people's mind about you. So I think this is his year. I'm happy for the guy. He's going through the draft process. I know he's quietly done it, which I respect. I think he's a really fine young man, which is, you always want to start with. But the way he's handled himself through all of these situations at UD, and then, last year we're talking about getting tampering with Duke and that kind of stuff, and, them offering him certain amounts of money. I think Deron Holmes he's been the face of Dayton for the last 3 years, and I would love to see him play at UD for another year selfishly, but come on. I think it's time for him to go pro, and I think it's time for UD to rebuild and build a team without the All-American. That's just reality of the situation. He's not going to be here forever. Any last thoughts on Dayton? Obviously, there will be more to come. Again, thank you, everybody who's subscribed to my new UD channel. We'll probably be putting this little segment on there just to have some more thoughts on the channel. But thank you, guys. Jordan, any last thoughts on UD before we get going on the Cavs?
No, I think we hit it on the head. Deron Holmes has been the talk, kind of losing some players that we were throwing the bag at. My last thoughts are, and you have a bigger insight on it than I do, with the bag of money that we now get to retain. Is there anybody out there that you want to call out by name that UD should look at as a prospect? Any like top of the line, or even maybe some role players they can spread that kind of NIL money out to, that you're thinking off the top of your head?
I mean, Dayton missed on a kid who went to Arizona State, who seems like he's got some athleticism. He's a good prospect, that kind of thing. But by name, no, I'm not going to go into names. A guy that we follow, Sidelines Dayton, he named a couple guys that are potential, but I don't think these are like the big money guys. Jaden Shutt from Duke is a guard. Garway Dwall from Providence is a guard. Corey Chesley is a guard from VMU. Khalil Kamara, who I mentioned in my short earlier, is a D2 small forward. Ashton Henderson is a guard from Junco. So there's a couple names in there. I would like to see them bring in a forward, though, potentially, and let Santos play more of the three. But, there's money out there. There's a lot of money out there, especially if Deron Holmes is gone. That's a big chunk of change, like you mentioned. So I'm looking forward to the next couple weeks and seeing how Dayton rounds out this roster and really getting in there and actually getting to hammer home who's going to be the guys next year. So, Jordan, let's transition. Oh, buddy. Game 7, Jordan. Game 7. Full transparency. I was nervous. I skipped the first half. I went to a movie with my grandma. You only get so many of those opportunities, so you got to take them. And I was, kind of watching my phone, watching the game cast, watching the movie. The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling and Emily Blunt, solid film, fun film. But she enjoyed it. So that's, you always got to take that in consideration when you're watching something. Is it, if your grandma enjoys it, you probably got to enjoy it. But Jordan, shit, man, first 30 minutes, first 28 minutes. Because, okay, so what I've got here written down, Jordan, is it was 37-20 with 7 minutes to go in the third. After that, 37-20 in the second quarter with 7 minutes and 20 seconds to go. After that, the Cavaliers outscored the Magic 86-57. We beat them by 29 points after that in the rest of the game. I mean, just you were able to watch it. You had your eyes on the product. I had to watch the game cast for obvious reasons. Tell me what you saw, man, because that looked rough in the first half. We're packing our bags. We're cussing people out on Twitter. We're dropping F-bombs all over the timeline. We're wishing JB a shitty summer. Can we package this guy with Garland? It got rough for a second there. That's the reality of it. So Jordan, watching the game, what was happening? Obviously, Mitchell started slow, Garland started slow, and then it picked up. Go ahead and tell me what that first half felt like, because it didn't feel good watching it on the Gamecast.
Just really the first half, man. The Cavs came out kind of answer for answer, but the first half, I mean, at one point in the first quarter, they were shooting almost 32%. The Cavs were, so it was abysmal. The shots looked extremely rushed. Transition points, we were just overshooting the product. You had Garland overthinking it, just dribbling underneath the basket, making unnecessary passes into traffic. Where and hats off to Suggs over in Orlando, because he was. It just felt like every time we were trying to make a pass from anywhere in the paint in the first quarter, Suggs was involved in either intercepting it, hitting it to one of his own guys. It was just disastrous. And Suggs and their company and Banchero, they started hitting threes. There was a point where they went on a 9-0 run. It was just threes, and that's kind of really where the Cavs fell apart in the first quarter. And it just the energy didn't look there. The coaches looked disinterested. I know we won, but goodness gracious, there was that point of the game. It was like they were thinking about Cancun, and I was just like, you're in Cleveland, and it just nothing kind of went the way. The rotation looked bad. Morris looked like he wasn't ready and or tired from Game 6. Niang played limited minutes and was just abysmal. I'm glad. I don't agree with JB Bickerstaff for a lot of things, but pulling him was the smartest thing he did.
Yes.
And the real spark that you saw in the I'll kind of fast forward to the second quarter. LeVert started to hit baskets. Started to hit baskets in transition. He started hitting baskets from in the paint, and then it kind of caught on. We got
Sam Merrill came in and hit the quick 8 points.
Sam Merrill hit 2 threes and I believe a pair of free throws. That was really crucial. That was a point of the game where it started to feel like we got the energy. I'll still say, we went into halftime with our tails tucked between the legs, and it.
Shout out to Darren from Fat Boy Fadeaway. I love when Tyler's right. Tyler predicted us to win Game 7, so shout out to those guys. Really appreciate them both. Shout out. But keep going because So Merrill and LeVert kind of sparked that comeback.
Yes, Merrill and LeVert sparked that comeback, but I do have to circle my wagon a little bit. Mobley had 2 blocks in the first quarter, so Mobley came to play defensively. He looked like the only guy that was trying in the first quarter, and it just really, really kind of turned around. Karis LeVert came off the bench and gave us the spark. Sam Merrill played a few minutes, closing in the second quarter, gave us awesome points and really some much needed juice and energy to the team. Isaac Okoro played some good, solid defense there at the end of the second quarter. Battled. And not to take anything away, in his limited minutes in the second quarter, Tristan Thompson had a smooth assist to Donovan Mitchell, and it was kind of more of the same from Game 6 in his limited time. So that energy transition, it really kind of it set up the third quarter. And I'll kind of let you take over. What did you see in the third quarter that really caught your eye?
In the third, that's when Mitchell, boom, I got to get to the line. I got to do something. I got to get to the paint. You weren't going to stop Donovan Mitchell getting to the paint at that point. It finally clicked. We know the 3-point shot wasn't going for him. 2 of 8 from 3. It happens. It was a bad shooting series, but he still finished 15 of 17 from the free throw line, 11 of 27 overall, 39 points. You know what I like though, Jordan, is our guards in the games that we won at home. They rebounded the ball really hard. They were going after boards. Mitchell ended up with 9 rebounds. I thought Strus was big in the third quarter, Jordan. He finished with 13 points. That was big. We needed every point from him. He hit the big. He had what, 2 big threes in a row.
Yes.
Um,
To close out the
yes.
third quarter, he was big.
Yeah, and then while Paulo still ended up with 38 points. Paulo's a freak of nature. That guy's dangerous as hell. He ended up with 38 and 16. We forced him into 5 turnovers, and he was 10 of 28. So while he still had a big scoring game, the buckets weren't like, his back down mid-range jump shot. He wasn't getting to the rim really well. We did a good job. We were just fouling him a lot. He's a big guy, so it's hard not to foul him. I thought we did. Okoro Mobley did a solid job overall on him. And that's the problem with the Magic, Jordan, and we're lucky. They only have one real offensive threat, and we got really, really lucky with that. Wagner was 1 of 15. Suggs was 2 of 13. They were struggling offensively, and we were lucky that the other guys didn't come along for the ride in that game. Transition to the fourth quarter. The Cavs brought it all the way back. Cavs were leading by 8 going into the fourth. What was it? Was it 8?
It was 8 points ending the third quarter into the fourth.
And it kind of felt like we held that lead. And then Garland at the 3-minute mark had the 3-pointer in the corner from Mitchell to put us up double digits. And then he got the steal on Suggs, and that kind of put the icing on the cake there.
But you got to give Donnie all the credit on that, because he went in for
him 2 times.
Yeah, he went in for the offensive rebound after Garland. So he came down to court. Yep. They set up a brush screen for Garland in the corner. Garland put it up. Garland missed it. Donovan Mitchell crashed the glass. Just 100%. All effort. And especially, being banged up and that late in the game, all effort. And then trusted him again to kick it right back out to Garland, and it banged. And the emotion after the shot, you can't make that up. That was just raw emotion from the energy of the game, Game 7. And then we icing on the cake. Garland made his free throws at the end when it mattered the most. Mobley had a dunk with about 2 minutes left in the fourth that really brought the energy in. And then Mobley himself got to the free throw line a few times and finished it on the line like a championship caliber team does. We're kind of in Game 6 and Game 5. We're kind of missing those late. So I was really happy to see him, really bring it all together on the free throw line. Really hit those shots and kind of just bury Orlando and move on. So that was just really great effort, like you said, from our guards, whether it was from defense, offense. Donovan Mitchell took over when after he kind of saw his teammates and his bench players and his role players finally get involved and get going. It really kind of sparked his energy, and they just they went back to the point of no return, and we got the victory. And that's something I'm not going to lie to you. I really didn't think it was going to happen. So
no, I didn't either.
I was impressed.
I did not either. Hell of a comeback. Hell of a Game 7. The Cleveland Cavs arena is just so fantastic for a playoff atmosphere. Just great job by the fans. I know they were booing and upset, but the product on the floor sucked for 2 quarters. So I totally understand their sentiments. Jordan, we're coming off the high, and we're going into what is going to be, it's going to be a massive uphill battle. The Celtics are the best team in the East by a wide margin. They are a finals contending worthy team. They've got Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum. They've got Drew Holiday. They've got Derek White. They've got Al Horford. They've got shooting off the bench. They are a complete team. They are a good defensive team. You are more confident going into this series than I am. What are your thoughts? I know you like to look back at the regular season games and point to the game where Dean Wade had an out-of-body experience and played the greatest game of his lifetime. What makes you think that the Cavs can compete and win this series?
And it's not just this year's regular season. I kind of point the compass at even 2 seasons past. Boston has us in the win column in the overall wins. This year in regular season and last year. But if you really look at the point margin and even kind of the shooting percentage and stuff like that, we match up, and this is just my opinion. I believe the Cleveland Cavaliers match up better against Boston and are built to match up against Boston than they were against the Orlando Magic. And I know that's crazy to say. Some people are going to look at me like I'm nuts. I watch basketball. I play basketball. I coach basketball. I think from a player personnel point, the Cavaliers have a better matchup against Boston than they do against Orlando. And I think that's going to show up on game one. I think our team was really kind of designed. You look at the guys that we brought in, like Strus, and bringing back Tristan Thompson for at least a little bit of grit and defense. Our team was really built for teams like the Knicks and teams like Boston, where Orlando is kind of one of those wild card teams that I don't think we were a great matchup against them on paper going into the series, which is why I was shocked we dropped the season finale to have them on our radar. I said a month ago when you asked me who do I not want to see, I said I pounded the table and said I don't want to see Orlando.
Yeah.
And 7 games later showed our whole fan base why I said that. And I don't know. I'm just more confident against Boston. I think we have the player personnel to kind of match for them and kind of go chess piece for chess piece. And that's just me. But I know you're a little less confident, like you said. Boston's got big names. All have been in big games. All got great playoff experience. They have a solid coaching staff, a solid back end for veteran leadership. But I think the Cavaliers are going to have a better matchup here. And that I don't know. That's just the way I feel about it. If our fans kind of go back and look at previous matchups, if you really kind of focus in on the field goal percentages and stuff like that, I think we have a great matchup.
Okay. I mean, hey, I respect it. What's your prediction for the series then?
I think the Cavs win it in 6. I really do. I think they shock the world. I think Donovan Mitchell cements his time here in Cleveland, cements his legacy. I think Garland gets out of that funk that he's been in, and he's going to be the scorer that we want him to be. I think the bench kind of gets the monkey off their back. You look at, Strus was so kind of upset with himself and got in his own way. Merrill, we saw him finally step up. I think that continues. When you get that kind of release, and Douglas, you are more of a player than I was. When you're riding high, you ride high. And I think we can take that momentum into Boston. Now we're battle tested. We went the whole 7 games. So they've got the travel in, they've got the battle in, they've got the grit in. And I think that goes to Cleveland's advantage. As much as you want to rest your stars and stuff like that, we're coming in ready to rock and roll. You look at kind of in memory for the NFL, the New York Giants, when they won their Super Bowl the first time against Tom Brady, they came from the wild card and had to play them all. So it's possible in professional sports to be the more sharpened team to go on the long road.
It's definitely possible. It helps that they're missing Kristaps Porzingis for a couple games. We're missing Jared Allen, and we didn't touch on that in the Cavs versus Magic series. We missed our one of our better players for 3 games in that series, and he was averaging 17 and 14 in that series. So we did win in spite losing one of our better players. I do think that should be said. I'm extremely worried because I watched our offense, and our offense was a lot of hero ball, a lot of getting bailed out by Donovan Mitchell. I don't think that's going to work against Boston. It's got to be everybody. It's got to be everybody clicking at the same time. Boston is as good of a defensive team as Orlando, and they are a million times better on offense than Orlando. As a unit, this team shoots the ball like you wouldn't believe. I am worried because it just you look up at the score, and I know the outlier game with Dean Wade comes to your heart, but like you look up at the score and you're down 13 or 14 to these guys, it feels a lot different than it's down 13 or 14 to the Magic. To me, I mean, the line for game 1 is the Celtics are favored by 11 points. That's a massive margin in the playoffs, especially round 2. It's going to take a titanic effort from Donovan Mitchell. It's going to take Garland getting out of his way and being a superstar. It's going to take Evan Mobley being a two-way player, not just a one-way player. He's got to be great on offense, and I don't think he's capable of that yet. It's going to take Miami Heat Max Strus, a guy who could hardly fucking miss last year. It's going to take Jared Allen being healthy and being able to battle on the boards. It's going to take a lot, and it's going to take a massive defensive effort to slow these guys down. And I don't know. I got the Celtics beating us in 5. I think we steal one game. I just think they're flat out better than we are at this point. Maybe the Cavs can take 2 games and make it a 6-game series and maybe build on this roster for next year and come back better prepared. I think we're just not ready as a roster to beat a team this good. Their defense is going to be it's going to be really rough. Game 1, I expect Boston to beat up on us because we've had to play 7 games. If we're going to steal a game in Boston, in my opinion, it's got to be Game 2. Game 1's going to be an uphill battle. The Boston crowd's going to be ready to go. The Celtics are going to be ready. I'm worried. I would love for the Cavs to pull this upset. It would be a massive upset, but it's going to be a very tall task, and I hope everybody's locked in and ready for that task because that's exactly what it's going to be. There's going to be some games in this series where the Cleveland looks like they are absolutely helpless, and that's going to happen because it happened against Orlando, and Orlando is not Boston. You say we match up better with Boston, we will find out very quickly if we do. Hopefully Dean Wade is healthy. Yeah. Hopefully we can get Dean Wade back because we are a much better team when Dean Wade's on the floor. Hopefully Jared Allen can get back to 100%. And hopefully Kristaps, I'm not hoping he gets hurt again. I'm hoping he is injured and misses some extra time because that just gives us a little bit more of an advantage. That's just the facts. What else you got?
I know he's kind of a role player. What's the word on Porter? Because I heard he was really close.
I hope he's able to play because I think he can be a spark plug.
I think he takes Niang's minutes if he's healthy.
Yeah, Niang is not going to be able to play in the series. His jump shot is broken right at this moment, and it sucks because that's exactly why we brought him in, to hit threes in these kind of series, and it's just it's not here. We need Dean Wade back. We need a lot to happen to go our way to beat this team. So you've got Cavs in 6. I've got Celtics in 5. I'm obviously going to be rooting my ass off for the Cavs to win this series, but it is going to be a tough one, and I hope we are all prepared for that. I don't want to see a shit ton of finger pointing because this team is better than we are. They are better. I don't want to see that kind of crazy, it's his fault, fire JB. We got to fire JB either way. But
well, yeah, there should be nobody in the fan base that disagrees with that.
Against the Celtics, it's gonna be a lot harder than against the Magic, where we should have beat them maybe in 6 or 6 games or something. Jordan, we've talked a lot of hoops. We talked a lot about Ohio news around. Let's get into our Cincinnati Reds. These guys stink. They absolutely stink, Jordan. You know what? Shoo, man. Well, what do you think, dude? This has just been really, really rough. Really, really rough. Let me give you a stat real quick. I'm sorry. Let me give you a stat real quick.
Hit me with it.
Will Benson's had 113 at-bats this year. He has struck out 50 times in 111 at-bats. That is almost half of his at-bats he's struck out in. Candelario has had 100 at-bats. He's struck out in 37. I mean, I know strikeouts are way up in the MLB because of, it's long ball or it's, a strikeout type scenarios. But Jesus, this team's they're just hitting so poorly. So poorly. What are your thoughts?
I'm already on the firing the coaching staff train at this point. I mean,
the coach isn't the one hitting for them. He's the one putting him in. He's the one putting him in bad spots in the rotation or in the lineup and stuff. This team's hitting 210, Jordan. As a team, they are hitting 210. These guys suck.
It's definitely not the Reds we're used to. Usually when we see the Reds lose, it's they scored 7 and they gave up 10, and that's. So it's really like kind of what I touched on Thursday. We're in such a different place for a fan base. One, we're playing 500 ball, and the games that we are losing, it's so lopsided, and it's the other way. Our bats are either we're either dinging it or it's holy hell. Our pitching staff is going out and giving you 2 runs to beat against. And we're still losing. That's something that's so uncharacteristic for the Reds. We're actually getting solid performances from our starting pitchers. The last couple of games. Well, not last night because we gave up 11, but Even the night before that, and 2 games before that, we're getting solid outings, and we're not backing it up on the bats, and that's something
Not at all.
that's something I've never seen, in our era of being a fan, since King Griffey Jr. and Dunn for me, and even Barry Larkin kind of before that. I've never seen the bats this cold as a Reds fan that I can sorely remember. It's always been we score and we give up more than we score. I'm dumbfounded. I don't know if there's just no spark in the locker room. With us having such a young team, maybe we can kind of point the compass that way and say, the young guys, just there's not enough veteran leadership outside of Jonathan India that can kind of spark a voice at this point. I don't know. Candelario, we're paying big bucks and we're not getting the production both offensively and defensively from him.
It sucks, man. It's just flat out sucks.
It's bad all the way around. They're kind of beating the teams they need to beat, but they're, now we're under 500. And is it time to start hitting the panic button? Is it time to start thinking trades this early? Or
I would at least think about trades, but it is only 34 games into the year. TJ Friedl's coming back this week against Arizona, I believe. That's going to be a shot in the arm. He's a guy we really sorely need. But Jordan, look at this. The rest of May, we've got 3 with Arizona. We've got 3 with San Francisco. We've got 3 with Arizona again. We've got 4 with the Dodgers. We've got 3 with the Padres again. We got 3 with the Dodgers again, 3 with St. Louis, and 3 with Chicago. I mean, May is an absolute murderer's row for us. These are some of the best teams in baseball, and especially when you're hitting 210, this could get ugly really fast, unfortunately, in terms of our record. We've got to find something. We got to find our bats. The pitching's been okay. The relief pitching, not so much, but the starting rotation's been solid. I mean, for what it is, it's been solid, but man, this team needs a shot in the arm, and hopefully TJ Friedl can be that guy, but it's a lot to ask. We've got one guy hitting over 250. One guy, Ellie. Ellie's our only guy who's hitting the ball well.
But a person that a lot of fans that, and I'm just going to call it like it is, a lot of fans that don't pay attention to real baseball, we're calling for him to be traded just 3 weeks ago.
No,
get Ellie off the team.
Sent down to the minors.
And still.
But still.
I think that's worse. But it was dumb. We pounded the table on this program, so I'm proud of our program for sticking to our guns there. But yeah, I don't know who. Outside of Jonathan India, I mean, I can't think of a voice that's going to really echo and get the bats going. Maybe the young guys, maybe CES if he can get it together. Ellie if it can rub off. I know that's the way I feel too, but I'm just throwing guys that are young of age and still kind of find their way. It's not really cement and stone for some of these young guys, but damn, it's got to be better. There's got to be a point where they either look at each other or we start to shuffle.
Nick Kroll, Jordan. He sucks. He's not a good GM.
He's terrible. No.
Okay, so here, we lose Ford. Ford says, I'm done with this. He's
the officially minors. Gone. Yes.
Yeah, no, he's done with the minors. The Reds don't move him up, but we've got Bubba Thompson on the roster still hitting 111, Jordan. 111.
I would have shuffled it.
We got Santiago Espinal hitting 169. There's nobody on this team besides Steer, Ellie. Nobody should be safe right now in the lineup. Like, there shouldn't be any security. We've got to hit the ball, and they're just not getting it done. And we've gone through spells. The defense was terrible for a while. The relief pitching was bad to start the year. And now the bats are completely cold. It's just, I mean, it is baseball. It's 34 games into the year. We've got a lot of time, but it just feels like the walls are kind of caving in when you look at this month of May and how bad our schedule toughness is extreme. If we lose, let's see. If we lose 2-3 to Arizona, 2-3 to San Fran, 2-3 to Arizona again, 3 out of 4 to LA, we're going to be really far back from the Cubs in the division. And I mean, and it starts to get like a really big uphill battle. I mean, I don't think we're crazy the Brewers are 20-13 right now. The Cubs are 21-14. We're 16-18. We're 4.5 back. This could get really bad very quick with the West Coast trip. So I don't know. Something's got to change. We need a shot in the arm. We need some massive support. There's got to be some players available. Nick Kral's got to get off his ass and make a move.
We need a shakeup to like you said, and we need a shakeup to where maybe you send a big contract back down to the minors just to send a fucking message. Because at this point,
I don't know.
If you're comfortable with the status quo, that's the way they're going to play, and that's any athlete in any sport. You got to crack the whip. It's gotta happen. Whether it comes from Bell maybe fighting and going in and saying something, because I mean this is essentially his job this year, in my opinion. If he stays with the Reds, I know we signed him to a 2-year deal, but I would absolutely trash it if we underperform kind of like we did last year and we didn't make the postseason.
Jordan, just to reiterate our point, we are 2-8 in our last 10 games. 2-8 in our last 10.
And it feels worse than that.
It does.
Those 2 wins I can't even remember. I'll be honest with you. It's been a while.
Our last win came against we beat San Diego 5-2, and before that it was the Texas 8-4 game. Yeah, I mean we're struggling, dude. We are struggling right now.
Those 8 runs seem like a distant memory, don't they?
Yeah. I do want to shout out the audience. We got 110 people in here watching. That's huge for us, and we massively, massively appreciate that. Thanks everybody for tuning in. Jordan, that's probably enough about this team. We've got a rough couple weeks ahead of us. Any thoughts before we get out of here tonight, man? We've gone 40 plus minutes. I think we touched on some really good stuff. We've got CAVS playing. We got CAVS playing basketball again tomorrow night.
We're shipping off to Boston, baby.
NBA playoffs. It's a good time for sports right now. Any thoughts before we get out of here, though?
No, I think the Reds. If they're going to turn around, it's going to be against Arizona in my mind. Arizona's kind of a hot and cold team when it comes to their starting pitching. They're solid on offense, but if the bats get hot, it's going to be against Arizona, and that's my opinion. And hopefully they back it up. So that's my final thoughts on that. So.
Okay, guys. Well, we appreciate everybody for tuning in. We appreciate some of the comments. We appreciate the support. We're trying to grow this channel. We say it every week. We're trying to grow and become a better show every week, and we're slowly getting there, and we're going to keep doing what we're doing. Thank you to everybody who watched. This has been Ohio Sports Talk. I'm your host, Doug. That's Jordan. We will see you guys Thursday night. Peace.